There's a place at the bottom of our world that holds more secrets than any other. It's a continent of extremes. A land buried under miles of solid ice. This is Antarctica. On the surface, it's a desolate, beautiful wasteland. And brutal, unforgiving cold. But what if the real story of Antarctica isn't what we see on the surface? What if the truth is buried deep beneath the ice, locked away for millennia? This isn't just a story about penguins and scientific research stations. This is a story about a mystery. A puzzle with pieces scattered across history, from ancient maps to modern military operations. It's a place that whispers of lost civilizations and hidden technologies, daring us to listen. For decades, we've been told a simple story about Antarctica. It's the coldest, driest, and highest continent on Earth, a place for science and for peace. But the more you dig, the more questions you find. Why are there so many stories about this place? Stories that sound like they've been ripped from the pages of a pulp adventure novel. Tales of secret bases, strange aerial phenomena, and discoveries that could rewrite human history as we know it. These aren't just whispers on the internet. Some of these stories have roots in real historical events and documented expeditions. The question is, where does the truth end and the legend begin? The allure of Antarctica is the allure of the unknown. It's the last great wilderness on our planet. A place so remote and so hostile that we've only just begun to scratch the surface, literally. We send rovers to Mars and probes to the outer reaches of our solar system, but the continent right here on Earth remains largely unexplored. It's a massive blind spot on our own map, and whenever there's a blank spot, human imagination rushes in to fill it. We are explorers by nature. And the idea that a whole continent's secrets are just waiting to be uncovered is an irresistible call to adventure. So let's gear up. Let's step into the cold and follow the trail of breadcrumbs. We're going on an expedition not just to the South Pole, but into the heart of one of the world's most enduring mysteries. And the journey to find it starts now. Before we can dive into the mysteries, we need to understand the place itself. Antarctica is a land of superlatives. It's the fifth largest continent, bigger than Europe or Australia. About 98% of it is covered by a colossal ice sheet. An entire continent almost completely entombed in ice. This ice sheet is on average over a mile thick. In some places it's nearly 3 miles thick. It holds about 70% of the world's fresh water. If it all melted, global sea levels would rise by a catastrophic 200 feet. This isn't just a cold place, it's a force of nature. Geographically, it sits squarely over the South Pole, surrounded by the stormy Southern Ocean. No human had set foot on it until the 19th century. The first confirmed landing was in 1821. That's incredibly recent. While empires rose elsewhere, this continent stayed a ghost on maps. Terra Australis Incognita. Its discovery was slow and brutal, explorers battling icebergs, scurvy, unimaginable cold. The conditions are the most extreme on Earth. It is a desert, very little precipitation. But instead of sand, it has snow and ice. Temperatures are legendary, as low as minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Add katabatic winds, hurricane-force air pouring from the interior toward the coast. Winds can reach 200 miles per hour. Surviving is a constant battle. The continent holds its secrets tightly. Because of the ice, we can't just walk around and see what's there. Exploring Antarctica is exploring frozen history. Scientists drill ice cores to read past climates. But what about the land under the ice? Vast mountain ranges like the Gamburtsev Mountains exist, as big as the Alps but hidden. The official story is just the tip of the iceberg. Now we get to the good stuff. The stories that keep people up at night wondering what's really going on at the bottom of the world. One of the most persistent and compelling theories is that Antarctica wasn't always a frozen wasteland. Thousands of years ago, the continent was ice-free home to a thriving advanced civilization, a lost city, perhaps even the legendary Atlantis, swallowed not by the sea but by a creeping, unstoppable wall of ice. Proponents of this theory point to a radical idea known as crustal displacement, which suggests the Earth's entire outer crust could have shifted, moving Antarctica from a more temperate zone to its current polar position. This isn't just wild speculation pulled from thin air. The theory gained a lot of traction because of a few tantalizing clues. One of the biggest pieces of evidence is a collection of strange pre-modern maps. The most famous of these is the Piri Reis map, created in 1513. But there are others, like the Oronteus Phineus map of 1531. These maps appear to show the coastline of Antarctica with incredible accuracy. The kicker? They seem to depict the coastline without its ice cap. How could map makers in the 16th century or even earlier know the shape of a continent that wouldn't be officially discovered for another 300 years, let alone what it looked like under miles of ice? The mystery deepens when you connect these maps to stories of secret military bases. During World War II, the Nazis had a documented interest in Antarctica. They launched an expedition in 1938, claiming a slice of the continent they called New Swabia. The official reason was to secure a whaling station and test military equipment in cold conditions. But the rumors are far more dramatic. Stories tell of the Nazis discovering vast, warm water caves under the ice. They say the Germans established a secret base, Base 211, and continued their advanced weapons research there, hidden from the world. Some tales even claim that Hitler himself didn't die in Berlin, but escaped via submarine to this hidden Antarctic fortress. After the war, the US military launched its own massive expedition to Antarctica in 1946. It was called Operation High Jump. The official purpose was to train personnel and test equipment in frigid conditions. Over 4,700 men, a carrier, a fleet of ships' aircraft. It was meant to last for 6 to 8 months, but it was cut short, and the fleet returned home after only 8 weeks. Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the expedition's leader, gave a bizarre interview to a Chilean newspaper upon his return. He allegedly warned that the U.S. needed to prepare to defend against enemy fighters that could fly from pole to pole with incredible speed. This single interview has fueled decades of speculation. What did they really find down there? After all this drama, the ancient maps, the Nazi expeditions, Operation High Jump, something remarkable happened. The world's powers decided to put their conflicts aside, at least when it came to Antarctica. In 1959, during the Cold War, 12 nations came together, United States, Soviet Union, to sign the Antarctic Treaty. The agreement declared Antarctica for peaceful purposes only. It banned all military activity, weapons testing, and nuclear explosions. It guaranteed freedom of scientific investigation and promoted international cooperation. Today, over 50 nations have signed. On the surface, it looks like a triumph of diplomacy, a continent for peace and science, essentially a world-owned national park. The treaty stopped new territorial claims and froze existing claims. It set up consensus-based management with meetings about scientific findings, environmental protection, logistical cooperation. But conspiracy-minded people see something else, not a fortress of science, but a fortress of secrets. They say the treaty is the ultimate cover story, a way to control access and manage information. The treaty heavily regulates who can go and what they can do. Independent private expeditions are costly and hard to mount. You need permission, environmental impact assessments, and proof of legitimate scientific purpose. So, with all these restrictions, what are the thousands of scientists who do get to go to Antarctica actually finding? The reality is just as fascinating as the fiction, even if it doesn't involve flying saucers or lost cities. Scientists are using Antarctica as a unique natural laboratory to study some of the biggest questions about our planet and the universe. One of the most incredible fields of research is the study of ice cores. By drilling miles deep into the ice sheet, they pull out cylinders of ice. Those cores contain trapped air bubbles from hundreds of thousands of years ago. These bubbles are tiny time capsules, a direct record of Earth's past atmosphere and climate. Beneath the ice, discoveries are just as mind-blowing. Ice-penetrating radar and satellite imaging have mapped Antarctica's subglacial topography. A hidden mountain range appears, the Gamburtsev Mountains. Scientists have also found over 400 subglacial lakes. Lake Vostok, the largest and most famous, isolated for millions of years. The hope of unique microbial life in those lakes, evolved in darkness, under pressure and isolation, is huge. It's like exploring an alien world here on Earth. Antarctica is also a treasure trove for meteorites. Dark space rocks stand out on the white ice. Teams on snowmobiles collect thousands of meteorites each year. Some meteorites come from the moon, some come from Mars. Allen Hill's 84001, found in 1984, ignited debate over possible microscopic fossils from Mars. Controversial, yes, but it shows Antarctica's role in the search for life beyond Earth. The Antarctic Plateau's clear, dry, stable atmosphere makes it the best place on Earth for astronomy. Telescopes at the South Pole see stars without distortion or light pollution. They study the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background. So while scientists may not have found Atlantis, they are uncovering our climate history, searching for new forms of life, and looking back to the very beginning of time. Let's step back and put on our skeptical goggles for a minute. It's easy to get swept up in the adventure of these incredible stories, but it's important to differentiate between what we know and what we believe. The Peary Race map is a real artifact, and its depiction of a southern landmass is genuinely puzzling. However, professional cartographers and historians argue it's a composite drawing with significant distortions. The resemblance could be a fascinating coincidence rather than hard proof of a lost civilization. The Nazi expedition to New Swabia absolutely happened. US Operation High Jump absolutely happened. These are documented historical facts. But the narratives built around them, of secret bases and battles with UFOs, rely almost entirely on rumor, speculation, and a single unverified newspaper interview with Admiral Byrd. There is no official report, no declassified document, and no physical evidence to support those sensational claims. So we come to the end of our expedition, but the journey is far from over. Antarctica remains a land of profound mystery. As our technology improves, as we get better at peering through the ice, what will we find on the bedrock below? Or unmistakable traces of something else? What is Antarctica still hiding from us? You just have to be willing to go to the ends of the earth to find it.